All right. Hey, everybody. This is Dominic D'Angelo of adfreeshows.com. And today's date is May 2nd. It's going to be May, and it is May. And I am happy to have with me here AEW's very own Miss Thunder Rosa. Thunder, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a while since I last chatted with you, but it's good to have you back in the loop with me.
Thanks for having me. I don't even remember when was the last time I saw your face.
Oh my gosh, I worked for WrestleZone, and so me and my brother did a show called Two Dynamite Dudes on there, and so we had you on there, and it was right after you had your match with Britt Baker, the Lights Out match. So it's been a little bit
Yeah,
of time.
yeah.
Been some time. So, but I wanted to start off. There's the good news. Reports are having it that the pre-sale of Wembley Stadium is at like 35,000 potentially. That's the reports going on. What a head start for AEW going back to or starting off in Wembley. Was there
Mhm.
pretty big excitement backstage of that announcement being made of, you guys going to Wembley, and then on top of it, was there like nerves, the expectations? What was kind of the dynamic back there?
I think it's everybody's excited. Of course, we're going to go to London. A lot of people have never been outside of the United States besides Canada, right?
Right.
But going into another country, another continent, I think it's very exciting for everyone, especially if you're like starting your career as a professional wrestler and being the possibility of doing activities, meeting all the fans and everything, and being in the stadium as big as Wimbledon. It's like it's huge, you know. It's like when we first did the U.S. Open, um, uh,
Arthur
the Arthur
Ashe.
Ashe Stadium.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's always like exciting to go to new stadiums. For me, I mean, if I was wrestling, I would be a lot more excited, right? Because it's
Sure.
like an opportunity to be in such a big opportunity to like show up and do something in front of like I don't know, it could be like 80,000 people. I'm not sure how many people can fit in there, but it's a lot. So if you know, big. So my niece is right here. It's chilling. She
Right.
thought that
Well,
we would, but I mean, it's a huge deal for the whole company overall. I think this will be it will set the mark to see everything else that we can do in the future and now as a comment and being in the commentary table, having an opportunity to call the matches and call the action in such a huge event. It's pretty awesome.
no, it's pretty fantastic, and it shows you the thirst for wrestling that's going on, and kind of like the next kind of. I don't want to give it a boom, but it's definitely growing. You can see the momentum building and everything like that. Um, I wanted to ask you too. Yeah, you talk about it. Like from the aspect you like just the competitive spirit that you have and everything like that. How's it kind of been? From a health standpoint for you, just physically and mentally, like how's your state going on at this point? I know you address it quite a bit often on Busted Open, but
I'm doing this week. I'm doing very well. Thank you for asking.
yeah.
There's been some weeks that I'm not gonna lie. It's been really dark. It's been especially when you think you're making steps to coming back to the ring and the pain does not leave your body and you're just like I've done pretty much everything to avoid certain things that you don't want to do like surgery, but it's talks of having to have surgery. I mean, it is scary, right? And like, it's just tough because of everything that has happened and how things have transpired. Um, I don't know, like, it really sucks because I'm not allowed to do things that I used to do before, and even in my personal life. And I'm not only talking about professional wrestling, just I can do jujitsu, I can go and do certain things because I can like land wrong, and like that really will hinder my rehab and stuff. So it's just like I said, it's been some weeks have been very very dark, and I just feel like I'm never gonna wrestle again. And some other weeks, like I said, things are going really well, but it's when I get in the ring, it's not well, and you have to be realistic with certain things and see how you're gonna deal with and cope with certain things. Because I mean, of course, I want to go and wrestle. Of course, I want to get back and put a banger and reclaim myself in there as a great competitor. But there's a lot of new talent coming in into AEW, and it will be an honor for me to like share, the ring with them. And also in the independent scene, there's been some really great talent that is coming out, and I just feel, I'm just doing production and I'm doing commentary, but it's like you don't feel the same rush that you feel when you're in the ring and everything. So, I mean, it's not like I'm going back in circles, but it's sad at times. But I cannot tell you how much I have learned in the last 9 months being in another role of professional wrestling, because I'm more critical of things now. I see what things can work, what things doesn't work as
Right.
a fan, as a wrestling critic, and as a as a radio host. Like, I have to look at everything in a different way, and I also, that forces me when I return to really pay attention to like selling, to telling a story, to really working with your partner, and to create a great story, and to elevate each other. I think that's very important. So I have learned so much, so much. Like, I mean, I can go on and on.
Well, it's
But
it's like, I think what's really cool is what stood out to you. What you stood out to me was the fact that you were really good at like facials and having a presence and everything like that. So if you even notice more that you can be doing, it's just like, all right, well, once you get back into the ring and things get rolling again, you'll be able to, like, yeah, kind of cultivate more of that storytelling element and everything. And I think that's what's the most endearing thing about pro wrestling. And yeah, I think you've got a good start on it already from what I've seen and everything. So it's been good. So I wanted to ask somebody that's really great at storytelling too, that I know you have a very strong relationship with, is Dustin Rhodes. Can
Mhm.
you talk about what you have kind of learned from him? And on top of it, like, I think I love the veteran aspect of him, and like him just be able to go on. Do you think there's an aspect where you could tell a great story of him going for one last big run, like a world title run or anything?
Man, I think that will be excellent for him. I think he's done so much for in the business. I mean, so much. I don't think like he gets the credit that he deserves. And man, he's such a good worker. Like, there was a couple matches. I think the one that stood out the most for me was him and CM Punk went out there in an opening match, and I remember the storytelling of it. It was like straight up old school wrestling, and I was
Right.
like, too much, and it was like people were going insane. Was I calling that match? No, I remember being glued to that.
I was there for
The
it. It was in Pittsburgh too.
Yeah, yes, and it was like the opening spot. Like, it was basic, classic, what they teach you in school, and how you do it well, and how you like call for uh the for the fans to do certain things, and just like very little subtle things, right? And Dustin is really good at that, and I just don't feel like he has, besides that, and probably the match that he had with his brother,
Hmm.
that blood match. He hasn't had an opportunity to really just kind of like Mickey James do his last rodeo, right? And
Right.
and something really cool. And I think that's very important for people like me, for other people that are coming up in the business, because yes, we can get over doing certain things on social media and everything, but we can also do certain things to learn from what has always worked, right? And we can do it now in a more modern way. And that's one of the things that I tell you now that I'm watching a lot more wrestling and I'm calling all these matches. I'm like, okay, there's certain things they have never changed,
Hmm.
and they still work, and people are kind of changing it in their modern way, and it's working for the fans, right? But um yeah, there's certain aspects and certain points that you don't have to change, and if you can, do not reinvent the wheel, but just do that. And is that basic recipe that still works, and that, and your red velvet cake tastes the same always.
Right, right. There's always the classic foundation element of pro wrestling that you can always add on to it. It evolves in certain ways, but if you stay tried and true to what the product originally was and how the story is told, it's like you can't beat it. It's the best kind of thing.
I mean, what is one of the things that you like the most from like some of these veterans? I mean, like, let me ask you. I mean, what
Yeah.
it, you know?
Well, what I really like a lot, especially in the ring, is the facial expressions. I'm just super into that. And like the moments and pauses that you take when it comes to like, you know, if somebody's down in the selling aspect, something that you've mentioned too, it's those are the big takeaways I very much like about the subtleties, you know, the subtleties of the character and the person in the ring. And them being able to convey that to a fan and a live audience, but at the same time do it for your television audience too. I think that's like music to my eyes and my ears, you know? So I think those are the big takeaways for me. How about you? What really stands out for you?
I will have to say the same thing, man. It's like the subtle things that certain people do. You know, of course, the catchphrases. That's one
Yeah.
thing that it's everywhere. This is not only in professional wrestling. It's everywhere I see with even with influencers. They have their catchphrases. They do certain things. One of my friends, I want to give a shout out to Simon Miller, like thumbs up. You know, it's like everywhere where I go, there's always a thumbs up. You know, same with Dave LaGreca with like
Right.
LaGreca like everybody's
The
doing stuff
lean.
like that. So, you know, it's yeah, yeah, don't even start me with the lean. I hate that
I
song.
was gonna ask you
Um,
about him.
so just things like that. I mean, I mean, Adam Cole, he's known for, you know, doing like people are waiting for that moment. Um, and it's just that finding those things and doing them in every single match. Consistency, 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 consistency.
It is. It's like, and then you mentioned it too, just the ability to kind of, I like the aspect too. I didn't really mention this was just if you only have a short time to do a promo and there's and you get a moment to stand out and you make that happen like in a short amount of window, I just think that's beautiful stuff too. It's just like, dang, you got that moment and you took advantage of it. You know, I think that's another thing I really like about wrestling a lot of ways too. So,
Yeah, but you have to. That's a learning skill. Either a learning skill, or you have really good writers that know the character really well, right?
right, right.
And get you over really quick. It's not easy. That's not easy. It's not easy. I can tell you. You have 1 minute and a half, and you have to convey everything and condense everything so you can take tell this very important message. And you fail to do that, it sometimes it does. But
Oh man,
the learning
I think
curve.
Dustin's great at that too. Is somebody that you know that's really good at that is Dustin. Um, okay. Another thing I wanted to ask before we end it. Let me see. Oh yeah. Okay. So you athletes, you're a big sports fan and stuff like that. Who really inspires you in a lot of ways? I don't want to lead you into something, but I know the Golden State with Steph Curry and stuff. He laid 50 points down. Is there certain athletes that really stand out to you that you've been inspired by?
Well, that's really, really good. I will say, honest to God, Serena Williams.
Yeah.
She really inspires me to go against all odds, right? From the moment she stepped in the court with her sister, um, they were expected to fail, right? And it was like the tenacity of his crazy father and also the talent that both Venus and her had. They really had made such an important mark in women's sports, and especially for women of color. And coming from Compton, you know, LA, here in LA, and going to like becoming an entrepreneur and probably one of the richest and most influential women in the world, not only as a tennis player, but also as an entrepreneur and as a woman and a mother, you know, and accepting all that and returning to the court and being dominant. Like it's just all the facets of a woman, right? And I read her story. I've done a lot of you know, I read a lot of articles, I've seen a lot of videos, and I watched the movie and everything, and it's just like there's so many women like her that started from nothing and they were able to really be resilient and really advocate for themselves, because that was the most important part. They offered them so many contracts and they were smart enough to be like, no, we're waiting for something more, and this is gonna happen, and they have done it. And like there's like the women that I really look up to, you know, and it's beautiful to see what you can do if you like surround yourself with the right people, and also if you find the right opportunities and you take over it.
Absolutely. That's a great answer too, because she really encompasses like athletes and like the new wave of sports that really started off too when it came to like you think about Tiger Woods and Michael Jordan and at that all around that area, and then all of a sudden tennis really got that big swing by this the Williams sisters coming in, and especially Serena too. But it's just like, and yeah, for her to kind of be dominant for that long, holy smokes, yes, that what an awesome answer. All right, my last question, you did mention his name, Dave LaGreca, Busted Open Radio. I listen to it every day because I timestamp it for Wrestling Inc. So I'm tuned in all the time to you guys. What have you learned from Dave, would you say, when it comes to personality wise, maybe conveying and stuff, and anything from a radio and a wrestling standpoint?
That you can be a good person and be successful. I will tell you that 100%. He's one of the best, the nicest human beings I ever met in my life. And he's unique. Like that's the reason why he's been so successful, because of his uniqueness and his eye for talent, right? And like and just again, we just celebrated 14 years last Friday, and we did with Denise Salcedo and we did the first ever women's show
I tuned in.
Busted Open.
Yep.
Yeah, and believe me, it was nerve-wracking. I was so nervous about this because I was like, David and we have such a cool interaction all the time, and we like feed off of each other. And just being with Denise was different because Denise is new to the team. I was doing some brands because just to remember like Rika, and like he's like really taught me how to speak up in a way in where I can be respectful, and people should, and also to like not demand respect, but I can give my opinion without being afraid of feeling like, oh, people are gonna attack me. It's just
Sure.
I am a wrestling analyst, and I am gonna have my opinion on certain things, and I am so thankful that he saw that I had an opportunity to give my piece as a woman of color, and also as a new generation of professional wrestler, because I'm not a Hall of Famer. I don't know at all, and also because I am one of those fans that became like a casual fan when I was like a lot older, and I didn't know a lot of the history of professional wrestling. And even though I don't have those accolades like how he does, because he knows dates, he's probably been he's so old. He probably been in those shows himself when he was little.
Yeah.
I'm always eager to learn, and he's always eager to like teach me and also direct me to the right people so I can learn how to do broadcasting. Because I believe like having good broadcasters in shows is so important to legitimize the business, and that is the reason why Busted Open is the #1 sports radio show on Sirius XM for so long. So shout out to David, I love you.
He's great. He's great. The humor he brings, it's so good. And yeah, you mentioned the chemistry. And hey, you mentioned the broadcasting aspect. It's all about telling the story and getting the story across. So it all adds into wrestling, into entertainment, and all that. So, Thunder, is there anything you would like to plug too as well before we go?
I'm still alive on YouTube, guys. I'm like showing my tours of the elementary schools. I'm doing a lot of speaking engagements with elementary school kids. I just did one right here in Bellflower, LA, in Los Angeles area. It was really awesome. I love talking to kids. So I'm open to business on that, guys. Just putting it out there. It's on YouTube. Patreon, all my exclusive content is on Patreon. I have like all my exciting delays in my flights and everything are there. YouTube, yeah, I said YouTube, Patreon. Oh yes, my song will be released. I think it's gonna be released today in all platforms that I'm singing to in Espanol. In the video, we will be putting it online on Dia de las Madres on May 10th. It's called Mi Mejor Escuela. It's about, we'll put the translation later, but we're singing, so be aware that my music is coming out, and we're gonna be putting some stuff out there. And just follow me on Instagram, and we are revamping our website. It's actually almost done, and we have some really cool merchandise to raise money for my father. I'm raising money to like be able to buy him a house probably. So yeah, so we're trying to do some cool stuff.
Well, that's great. It's great. And it's good that you're keeping occupied and, just keep the confidence in yourself because, you'll get back in there, no doubt about it. It's God will find a way for you, and you'll keep chugging away. So don't sweat that at all. But thank you so much, Thunder, for taking the time to do this with me today.
And thanks for having me. It was a great interview.
Hey, thank you.